The distress signal from the Pathfinder reached Earth 72 hours later. In the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, representatives from every nation watched in stunned silence as Captain Ray's final transmission played on the central display. The footage showed crystalline ships with weapons that defied known physics and a glimpse of the towering, multi-eyed Droxoth commander. They're coming. They're beatable. Remember the Pathfinder. Admiral Kazuo Nakamura slammed his fist on the conference table. We have to unite. Now. No politics, no borders. This isn't a threat to any one nation. It's extinction level. The ensuing hours blurred into days as Earth mobilized like never before. Former adversaries pooled resources, scientists shared classified research, and military leaders strategized around the clock. In orbit, construction crews rushed to repurpose commercial space stations into defensive platforms. On the ground, manufacturing facilities switched from consumer goods to emergency supplies and weapon prototypes. Dr. Layla Hassan, head of Sinolinguistics at Oxford University, led the team analyzing the alien communication patterns captured in Ray's transmission. They speak as one voice, but with multiple tonal layers, she explained to the newly formed Earth Defense Council. Their language structure suggests a hive consciousness, individuals who think as parts of a whole rather than as separate beings. In the Pacific, deep-sea technicians converted submarine bases for spacecraft assembly, safe from orbital detection. The first breakthrough came when Dr. Hassan's team decoded more of the Droxoth transmission. They've conquered 17 systems before ours, she reported grimly. But here's what's interesting. Each conquered species was highly organized, with centralized governments and predictable response patterns. And we're supposed to take comfort in being disorganized? General Mikhail Petrov asked, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Maybe. Admiral Nakamura studied the alien fleet projections. Reyes didn't just give her life to warn us. She gave us a tactical advantage. The Droxoth don't know what to expect from us. 6 months into preparations, orbital telescopes detected the Droxoth fleet approaching Mars. Their ships moved in perfect geometric formations, each vessel precisely positioned within the Armée. Earth's leaders gathered one final time before implementation of the Planetary Defense Protocol. We have one advantage they don't, Commander Sarah Chen told the assembled representatives. Her tactical simulations ran on screens around the chamber, showing unconventional defense patterns. They think as one mind. We think as 8 billion individuals. Their strength is unity. Ours is chaos, creativity, and the unexpected. As the council meeting ended, the phrase "Remember the Pathfinder" had already spread worldwide, appearing on makeshift defenses, military vessels, and resistance banners. Humanity prepared for war, not just for survival, but with the fierce determination that comes from knowing they were fighting for the right to remain truly human, individual, unpredictable, and free. Dr. Patel's discovery about the Droxoth's sound-based communication spread rapidly through the defense network. In an abandoned salt mine beneath Kansas, engineers worked around the clock to mass-produce modified sonic disruptors based on his daughter's inadvertent breakthrough. The devices, nicknamed cacophony bombs, generated specific frequency patterns that could temporarily confuse the alien hive mind. We don't have enough resources to build proper weapons, Commander Chen told her international squadron of fighter pilots, so we'll turn their strengths against them. She demonstrated by projecting a holographic simulation of Droxoth ships moving in perfect, predictable patterns. They rely on mathematical precision. We'll give them chaos. The pilots, former enemies from Russia, China, India, and America, studied the unorthodox flight patterns Chen had designed. These weren't the clean formations they'd trained with, but wild, seemingly random trajectories that defied conventional air combat wisdom. You want us to fly like drunk birds? Colonel Yuri Sokolov asked, raising an eyebrow. Chen nodded. Exactly. Drunk, unpredictable birds carrying sonic weapons. Meanwhile, at the underwater research facility off New Zealand, The first prototype of the enhanced Babel system underwent testing. Dr. Hassan's linguistics team had discovered that playing Mozart's Symphony No. 40 through the device created a particularly disruptive effect on salvage, Droxoth communication tech. When they added human laughter to the transmission, the alien equipment actually cracked from internal harmonic resonance. It's not just sound, it's emotion they can't process, Hassan explained to military observers. The mathematics of Mozart combined with the unpredictability of human emotion creates something their systems literally cannot comprehend. Across the globe, ordinary citizens joined the resistance effort. Former music teachers trained defense operators on sonic principles. Art students designed camouflage patterns that confounded alien visual processing. Children's toys were repurposed as carriers for miniature Babel devices. At Cape Canaveral, Commander Chen inspected the retrofitted fleet, a cobbled-together collection of modified civilian spacecraft, experimental military vessels, and hastily constructed fighters. The largest ship, converted from a space tourism cruiser, had been renamed Pathfinder's Vengeance. "It's not pretty," admitted Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez, looking at the mismatched hull plates and improvised weapon mounts. "But the chaos configurations you requested are fully implemented. No two ships have the same energy signature or flight pattern." Chen nodded approvingly. Beautiful isn't what wins this war. As Earth's deadline approached, Dr. Patel made a final modification to the prototype Babel device. He added a simple media player containing thousands of human cultural artifacts: music, poetry, laughter, applause, children's stories, all mathematically arranged to create maximum disruption to hive mind processing. "Why this specific sequence?" asked Admiral Nakamura during the final briefing. "Because it tells our story," Patel replied. "Not just random noise. Humanity's story. Our music, our emotions, our creativity. The very things they can't understand will be our greatest weapon." The meeting ended as alerts flashed worldwide. The Droxoth main fleet had passed Mars and was accelerating toward Earth. The temporary retreat of the Droxoth fleet gave Earth precious hours to analyze the effects of their improvised sonic weapons. Commander Chen gathered her remaining pilots in the underground command center. Of the 48 who had launched, only 27 returned. "Those who didn't make it back gave us something invaluable," Chen said, her voice steady despite the losses. "They'd proved the hive mind can be confused." Sensor Officer Miguel Rice, Captain Ray's younger brother, rushed into the briefing room with fresh data. "Commander, we've analyzed the alien communication patterns during the battle. There's a 3-second delay between the moment our ships performed unpredictable maneuvers and the aliens' response." 3 seconds, Chen repeated. "In space combat, that's an eternity." Dr. Hassan's linguistics team confirmed what the pilots had observed firsthand. When faced with human unpredictability, the Droxoth needed to consult their collective consciousness, a process that created a brief but exploitable delay. "It's as if they need to convene a committee before making any unexpected decision," Dr. Hassan explained. "That's why Captain Wu survived when she spun her ship like a top while playing death metal through her external speakers. She created a sensory overload they couldn't process fast enough." Captain Wu, still recovering from radiation burns, managed a pained smile. "My teenage obsession with Metallica finally paid off." But the window of opportunity was closing. Orbital sensors detected the Droxoth regrouping, their formation changing from standard geometric patterns to something new, an adaptive algorithm attempting to account for human unpredictability. "They're learning," Admiral Nakamura observed grimly, "evolving their tactics." Chen studied the new formation. "Then we change ours faster than they can adapt. Every pilot gets a unique flight pattern and sonic sequence. No standardization whatsoever." The engineers protested. Standardization was essential for coordinated defense. But Chen was adamant. "Coordination is their strength, not ours. Complete individuality is how we survive." As Earth prepared for the second wave of attacks, the Droxoth broadcast a message planet-wide. Their translator had clearly been improved by studying human language patterns from the first engagement. Resistance costs unnecessary suffering. Your species displays interesting anomalies. Submit to collection and study. Individual consciousness will be preserved within the collective. This is optimal. The final words chilled everyone who heard them. Your differentness is interesting but inefficient. We will correct this imperfection. Chen authorized an equally planet-wide response. Not a formal message, but a carefully curated playlist of humanity's most emotion-laden music spanning centuries and cultures. Earth's answer to assimilation was Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Delta blues, Chinese opera, and children's laughter. As the second wave of Droxoff ships entered the atmosphere, Chen addressed her pilots one last time. Remember, they think as one perfect mind. We think as billions of beautifully imperfect ones. Now go show them what human improvisation really means. Above major cities worldwide, the sky filled with crystalline warships, and Earth's chaotic, mismeshed defense forces rose to meet them, no two moving in the same way. Maya Jackson and her team crawled through maintenance tunnels beneath Stockholm's ruins, the Babel device strapped to her back pulsing softly with Beethoven's rhythms. Behind her, former concert violinist Daniel Kovic carried a makeshift weapon, a modified sound cannon built from salvaged stadium speakers. Communications specialist Lian Zhang monitored Droxoth movements through a tablet showing thermal patterns on the surface. Movement above, Lian whispered. 4 centuries, standard patrol formation. Jackson signaled a halt as they reached a junction beneath what was once Stockholm's Grand Theater. Above them, through a ventilation grate, they could see a Droxoth researcher interacting with a grand piano. The alien's multiple eyes blinked independently as its elongated fingers pressed keys in perfect mathematical sequences. Major scales, minor scales, chromatic runs. Why do they keep studying our instruments? Daniel whispered. They're trying to understand what they can't process. Jackson replied. Music isn't just sound to us. It's emotion. That concept doesn't exist in their hive. The researcher suddenly struck the piano in apparent frustration, creating a discordant crash. It then turned to a control panel and played a recording of a human concert, Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. The alien's head tilted at impossible angles as it compared its own perfect scales to the emotion-laden human performance. The team continued deeper into the facility, narrowly avoiding patrols by timing their movements to coincide with scheduled hive mind updates. Brief periods when all Droxoth simultaneously paused to synchronize their collective consciousness. In the facility's central processing room, Jackson's team discovered rows of crystalline storage units containing thousands of human artifacts, books, paintings, musical instruments, toys, and inexplicably, a collection of snow globes. They're cataloging everything that makes us human, Lion observed. While setting the Babel device on the main control node, Jackson discovered building schematics displayed on alien terminals. Though the language was incomprehensible, the diagrams were clear. Massive drills burrowing toward Earth's core, surrounded by incubation chambers. Those aren't mining operations, she realized with horror. Those are nests. They're planting their eggs in the planet's center. Daniel studied the schematics. The thermal readings. If those eggs hatch, the energy release would shatter the planet's crust. How long do we have? Lion asked. Jackson traced the project timeline. Based on their progress, 97 days until the first eggs mature. As they activated the Babel device, Mozart's Symphony No. 40 flooded the facility's communication network. The effect was immediate and astonishing. Nearby, Droxoth froze, their synchronized movements suddenly faltering. Some touched their own faces as if feeling them for the first time. Others moved independently, breaking formation in apparent confusion. It's working better than we expected, Jackson said, watching through security feeds as chaos spread throughout the facility. They're experiencing individuality. One alien stumbled into the room, its movements jerky and uncoordinated. Instead of attacking, it stared at its own hands with multiple eyes blinking in different patterns, no longer synchronized. It spoke a single word in broken English before collapsing. Jackson's team escaped with the vital intelligence during the confusion, transmitting their findings to resistance cells worldwide. Earth had 3 months to prevent its destruction. The revelation about Earth's 97-day countdown transformed the resistance from desperate defense to calculated offense. In Commander Chen's underground command center, holographic displays tracked the locations of 46 active resistance cells worldwide. Each dot of light represented humans fighting in their own way with their own tactics. Stockholm proved the Babel devices work better than expected, Dr. Paddle explained, showing footage of the confused Droxoth. But we need more than isolated incidents. We need a coordinated global disruption. Chen studied the Marianas Trench submarine-based schematics. Dr. Hassan, how's the translation coming on those alien egg incubation protocols? Dr. Hassan tucked a strand of gray hair behind her ear. The Droxoth word for offspring is the same as their word for self. They don't distinguish between individual identity and species continuity. That's our opening, Chen said. If we can't tell the difference between killing an adult Droxoth and destroying an egg, neither can they. In Sydney's underground transit tunnels, teenage street artists led by 19-year-old Imani Williams developed a revolutionary technique. Their murals contained hidden frequency patterns that, when scanned by Droxoth sensors, uploaded corrupted data to the hive mind. It's like visual music, Imani explained to resistance leaders via a secure channel. We hide the disruptive patterns in the art itself, using colors the aliens can see but humans can't. Similar innovations emerged worldwide. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous communities discovered that certain bird calls disrupted Droxoth communications. In Siberia, resistance fighters used the resonant properties of frozen lakes to amplify sonic weapons. Humanity's diversity became its greatest weapon. No two resistance cells used the same tactics, making it impossible for the hive mind to predict and counter all approaches. Admiral Nakamura oversaw the most audacious project, converting nuclear submarines into electromagnetic pulse spacecraft. In underwater hangars safe from alien detection, engineers worked around the clock. We can't match their technology, Nakamura told his engineers, but we can hide where they can't see us and strike when they least expect it. The breakthrough came when resistance cells in 7 countries simultaneously activated Babel devices during a scheduled hive mind synchronization. For 11 precious minutes, Droxoth forces worldwide froze in confusion. Surveillance drones captured footage of aliens moving independently, some fighting with their own kind, others simply standing motionless, apparently processing their first experience of individual consciousness. We need to target their queenship, Commander Chen announced during an emergency council meeting. Jackson's intel confirms it houses the overmind, the biological core of their hive consciousness. We have one chance at this. If we fail, there won't be time for a second attempt. The mission would require a volunteer crew willing to fly a one-way journey. Chen didn't need to ask. Every fighter in the command center stood. Among them was Miguel Reyes, his expression resolute. My sister showed us they were beatable. Now we finish what she started. As the mission parameters were distributed worldwide, resistance cells prepared for their roles in the coordinated attack. Operation Odysseus would commence in 72 hours, a desperate gamble to save Earth from becoming an alien incubator and humanity from extinction. Inside the Queenship's crystalline corridors, Commander Chen and her remaining team navigated an environment that defied human architectural logic. Walls pulsed with bioluminescent light, reflecting their movements as if the ship itself was watching them. Lieutenant Jackson took point, her experience from Stockholm proving invaluable as she recognized patterns in the alien design. The symmetry always points toward the center, she whispered, tracing geometric lines along a translucent wall, like a neural network converging on a central processor. The team had lost 9 members already, 3 during the initial breach and 6 more in firefights with alien defenders. Those remaining moved with the desperate efficiency of soldiers who knew they might not return home. Engineer Kazemi checked his tablet. Babel devices worldwide are operating at maximum capacity. We have maybe 20 minutes before the hive mind adapts. As they pushed deeper into the ship, the architecture became increasingly organic. Crystalline structures gave way to fibrous tissues interwoven with technology. The air hummed with subsonic frequencies that made their teeth ache and vision blur. "It's a defense mechanism," Dr. Hassan explained through their comms. "The frequencies are designed to disorient non-hive minds. Focus on something uniquely human, a memory, a song, anything emotional." Chen found herself mentally reciting her grandmother's favorite poem as they reached a massive chamber unlike anything they'd encountered. Suspended in luminescent fluid, the Droxoth Overmind pulsated. A colossal brain-like organism, 20 meters across, shot through with crystalline technology. Countless fiber-optic tendrils extended from it, disappearing into the ship's walls. "That's it," Chen breathed. The biological supercomputer coordinating the entire hive. Before they could deploy their enhanced Babel device, alien reinforcements swarmed from hidden chambers. The team took defensive positions behind crystalline columns as energy weapons carved the air around them. "We're pinned down," Jackson shouted, returning fire. "Can't reach the deployment point." Chen assessed their dwindling options. Their ammunition wouldn't last 5 minutes, and the backup team was too far behind to help. The Babel device needed to be placed in the fluid surrounding the Overmind for maximum effect. Specialist Kazemi studied the fluid through his scope. "Commander, the liquid is highly conductive. It's amplifying the hive mind signals to the entire fleet." A desperate plan formed in Chen's mind. "Jackson, cover our eastern flank. Miguel, western. I need 2 minutes." While her team provided covering fire, Chen removed the protective casing from their remaining Babel device, exposing its internal components. She rewired the transmission array, connecting it directly to her communication unit. "What are you doing?" Kazini asked, ducking as crystal shards from enemy fire exploded overhead. Dr. Patel said human emotion is incomprehensible to the hive mind. Chen explained, fingers working rapidly. "So I'm going to give them the most human thing I have." She accessed her personal files and selected an audio recording, her grandfather's violin performance recorded decades ago, a piece he had composed after surviving a war. It was raw, imperfect, and deeply emotional. "Everyone, final defensive positions," Chen ordered, her modified device humming to life. "When I give the signal, we make our last stand." As specialist Yuna Song's iPod pumped humanity's musical heritage into the Overmind's conductive fluid, the massive biological computer convulsed violently. Ripples spread across its surface like a pond disturbed by conflicting currents. Throughout the Queen ship, lights flickered and crystalline structures began to crack. "It's working," Jackson shouted above the cacophony of human music and alien alarm signals. Communication specialist Song monitored the transmission. "The musical patterns are causing cascading contradictions in the hive mind logic. It's like introducing paradoxes into a computer program." The remaining team members gathered around Chen as alien reinforcements suddenly froze mid-advance. Some Droxoth dropped their weapons, their multiple eyes blinking in asynchronous patterns for the first time. Others clutched their elongated heads as if in pain. "We need to transmit this frequency to every resistance cell," Chen ordered. "Kazemi, can you boost the signal?" Engineer Kazemi worked frantically to connect their communication array to the ship's own transmission network. "If I can piggyback on their quantum entanglement system, we could reach every Droxoth simultaneously." Miguel Reyes defended their position, firing at the few aliens still coordinated enough to attack. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster. Some of them are adapting." A thunderous vibration shook the chamber as the Overmind's fluid began to glow with increasing intensity. Cracks spread across the containment tank, leaking luminescent liquid that hissed when it touched the floor. "The system's overloading," Kazemi warned. "We have maybe 2 minutes before critical failure." Chen made a split-second decision. Transmit the frequency, then everyone evacuate. I'll cover our retreat. Commander, that's suicide, Jackson protested. That's an order, Lieutenant. Chen replied firmly, checking her weapons charge. Earth needs to know what happened here. As the team reluctantly withdrew, Chen positioned herself between them and the increasingly erratic alien defenders. The iPod continued cycling through humanity's greatest musical achievements. Bach to Beatles, tribal drumming to electronic dance music. Something unexpected happened as Chen prepared for her final stand. A Droxoth officer approached, but instead of attacking, it simply stood before her. Its movements were no longer the fluid coordination of hive mind control, but halting and uncertain, like a newborn taking first steps. The alien raised a hand toward Chen, not in threat, but in what appeared to be fascination. It spoke in a voice unlike the unified tones they'd heard before. This voice carried individual inflection. What is happening to us? Chen kept her weapon raised. You're experiencing individuality, separate consciousness, freedom from the hive. The Droxoth officer's multiple eyes focused on her for the first time as truly separate organs, not parts of a synchronized whole. It is painful, but also more. Behind them, the Overmind's tank shattered completely, flooding the chamber with glowing fluid. Emergency alarms blared as the ship's stabilizers failed. Chen's team had reached the escape vessels, but her path was now cut off by advancing alien forces, some fighting each other, others simply wandering in apparent confusion. The Droxoth officer made a decision that no hive mind soldier could make. It pointed to an alternative escape route hidden behind a biological membrane. Go, it said simply. I choose this. 6 months after Operation Odysseus, Earth's recovery efforts showed remarkable progress. Green parks now sprouted where alien structures once stood. The crystalline debris of Droxoth technology had been repurposed into new buildings that caught sunlight in prismatic displays. Commander Chen, promoted to admiral following her unexpected return from the Queen ship, watched from the rebuilt International Space Station as First One-Apart's shuttle docked for the historic diplomatic summit. The transformed Droxoth ambassador emerged from the airlock with movements distinctly different from those Chen had observed during the war. Where once was mathematical precision, now was a fluid individuality. First One-Apart's multiple eyes fixed on her with recognition. You were there, it said in carefully practiced English. At the awakening. Chen nodded. As were you. You helped me escape. I made my first choice. The alien agreed. A frightening, wonderful moment. The diplomatic team included Dr. Hassan, Dr. Patel, and representatives from all major Earth nations. First One-Apart explained how the Overmind's exposure to human culture had transformed their entire species. For millennia, we thought as one perfect organism, the ambassador explained. We conquered worlds to expand the collective. We never understood why species fought against perfection. Dr. Hassan leaned forward. And now? Now we are many who were one. First One-Apart replied. Some embrace individuality. Some cannot survive it. Some form smaller collectives by choice, not by biological imperative. We explore our options. The Droxoth delegation shared star charts marking 17 conquered worlds now experiencing their own awakening processes. More concerning were the marked territories of other hive mind species, vast empires that would inevitably see Earth as a threat. They will come, First One-Apart warned. We were first, but not last. Your music, your chaos, your individual choice. These concepts destroy perfect unity. They will fear you for this. Admiral Chen studied the galactic map. Then we'll be ready. The treaty signed that day included technology exchanges that would advance Earth's development by centuries. Former Droxoth harvest ships were converted into research vessels. The first human-alien scientific teams began studying faster-than-light travel principles. 3 weeks later, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of Earth's first true starship. Named Pathfinder II in honor of Captain Rice, the vessel combined human design with Droxoth technology. Its crew included veterans of Operation Odysseus, alongside several awakened Droxoth who had chosen to ally with humanity. As the ship prepared for its maiden voyage beyond the solar system, Chen addressed the crew. "We've proven that our greatest strength isn't in our technology or our numbers, but in our individuality, our capacity to think, feel, and choose as separate beings united by common purpose." Miguel Reyes, now captain of his own vessel, transmitted from the companion ship, "My sister would be proud of how far we've come." The Pathfinder I engaged its drive system, creating a brilliant aurora as it accelerated toward the stars. In the ship's commons area, human crew members and their Droxoth allies gathered to listen to Beck's cello suite No. 1, a piece that had helped awaken an entire species to the power and beauty of individual expression.